Woo, all right, Jesse on fire. Welcome back to the channel. I'm telling you right now, I just filmed a video about John Jones and the gender pay gap that he's complaining about. And I am on fire right now. So I'm going to talk right now about Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier 3 getting booked, as well as Wonderboy and Gilbert Burns. Now, this might not sound like it's going to be a super fascinating topic, but I'm telling you, unless my quality level falls off a cliff between the video I just did and the one I'm about to do, this is going to be a solid video. It's going to be funny. It just is. Sometimes I'm just hitting, and that's right now. So buckle in, son, because these should not be very interesting topics, and yet they will be, because they just will. Anyway, so if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. It's a unique channel with a unique, idiotic character who just talks about nonsense, but somehow it's just, engaging for some reason. That person is me. Anyway, but if you like it, subscribe, tell your friends, comment on the video, especially if you end up thinking this shit's not funny, because, I really want to hear about it. Just be like, dude, this shit's not funny, bro. Like, you are not a funny person, because I am intending to be funny during this video. So if it's not funny, I'm failing, which means you should tell me you failed, bro. I did not laugh once. You are not funny. You are not clever. Your channel's going nowhere. You're ugly. I hate you. Drop the YouTube thing. And then maybe I will, but probably not. So let's do this. All right. So Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor are booked for their third fight, July 10th, I believe, on the same card, it turns out, as Gilbert Burns and Wonderboy. That sounds like a very interesting card. So I was trying to think, what should we talk about here about these fights? I mean, I feel like the Conor and Dustin thing's kind of been beaten to death, but why not talk about it more? Because there's just, that's what we do. We just talk about the same shit over and over and over. Like, let's go through, here's all the talking points of the Dustin and Conor fight, right? It's like, well, Conor was very nice to Dustin in the build-up this time, so Dustin was able to focus and not get distracted. I wonder if Conor will be mean in the build-up to this next fight. I don't know. But that's a talking point that I would talk about. Then we go, and I think Conor didn't really take Dustin seriously. I mean, he basically considered this fight a tune-up for a Manny Pacquiao boxing match. And listen, if you're thinking about your next fight when you're fighting a person who's as tough and gangster as to Dustin Poirier, probably not a good mental place to be in. You get yourself in perfect physical shape, but then you go in thinking about a different person that you're not even fighting at that moment, and then you lose. It's like, it's not really that surprising. So I would talk about that, right? And now he's not going to take Dustin, he's not going to take him lightly. So if he ends up taking him seriously and he ends up being mean, he uses psychological pressure to try to break Dustin's focus. Who knows? Maybe this time Conor will have an advantage. There we go. So everyone talks about those two things, right? And then, of course, it's really crazy that Conor didn't know about calf kicks. Like, he didn't know how to check calf kicks. That's crazy, because calf kicks have been, utilized very well in mixed martial arts for like 100 years. But, now that they're being heavily used and Conor lost to calf kicks, I bet he's going to have to learn how to check them. It's not an easy kick to check, shin to shin. That's your only option. But yeah, so I would talk about that. It's like, I wonder if he's going to be able to figure out checking calf kicks. So we've touched on all the main points, right? And then, some people, if they really want to go a layer deeper, they would go, yeah, but what's Dustin going to do? Is Dustin going to switch his plan up? Because now he knows Conor's going to be ready for the calf kicks. So maybe he's going to go for a takedown. He's going to try to slap a guillotine on him, just like he did to Khabib, even though Khabib got out of it and then put a rear naked on him and basically popped his eyes out of his skull. Seriously, have you ever seen a person that looked like they were in more physical pain than Dustin Poirier on that rear naked choke that Khabib had him in? Literally looked like his eyes were going to pop out of his skull. So, yeah, there's that. You want to see a video of me in a rear naked choke with my eyes popping out of my head? Look at this. Watch this. That's my 8-year-old. Yeah. So Khabib's was a little stronger than that. But if an 8-year-old can, almost break your trachea, imagine Khabib at full throttle. Anyway, all right. So I think I've covered all of the things related to Conor and Dustin, although I wanted to talk about this other thing. Wow, look at this. So I'm going to slip this in because I literally just remembered that I wanted to talk about this. So Conor had to sell Proper 12. I don't know if everybody saw that, but he sold it for like $100 million. And when I read about it, right, like now we're actually going to get serious. It's not funny. Okay, so when I read about the deal, what it sounded like is that his investors had an option to exercise for this $100 million to buy their portion of the company, which was was in the original terms of the investment. And I think Conor got fucked by that deal. Okay. Because Proper 12's revenue was big enough to justify a much bigger market cap. And so the valuation that they got bought out at, I believe, was put in their original investment. And so he had to sell half the company for tremendously less than what it was worth. But honestly, I don't know. But here's what I can tell you, okay? When you're taking a venture round, okay, because this is obviously something I have a lot of experience with. If you're taking in venture capital, if you don't know what you're doing, and I'm not saying that I did, I just had attorneys that did, they will slip all these little sneaky terms in there where, we get out, twice participating, like all this stuff where you just wouldn't even know what you were looking at. And I have a feeling that is exactly what happened here, where they put in a right to exercise and buy you up for whatever was $100 million. And Conor at the time, when they're signing it, they're like, hey, listen, man, hey, if they end up exercising in 3 years for $100 million to buy us out, I think we've won, right? Like, I think we've won. And no, you just got fucked is what happened, because this is not normally the case for Conor, but you didn't dream big enough, man. Like your company was worth more than that. And, listen, you get a $100 million payday. There's that's nothing to sneeze at. But he's not as wealthy as Dana White anymore. Like, everyone was like, oh, he's as wealthy as Dana White. Well, yeah, that was if your company was worth like $1.5 billion and you owned half of it. Now, not so much. Anyway, but good for him. He is very, very rich, but he spends money like a very, very rich guy. He's bought, buy a $1.2 million watch. Looks like he's got a $50 million boat. Like, that's not how you spend it. Okay, look, like, I realize, like, to regular people, they think that, like, a person who's worth $200 million is the same as a person who's worth, like, $1 billion. They're not the same. Like, there's a huge gap there. Like, as an example, a person who's worth $200 million doesn't have a $50 million boat, like, if they're responsible, But a billionaire does, because, you're not going to put, or at least I'm not going to put 25% of my net worth in the worst investment in the history of the world, which is a boat. Anywho, I don't actually know if Conor owns that boat. It's neither here nor there. See, I told you we were going to go off the rails in this video. All right, so now let's talk about Gilbert Burns and Wonderboy, son, because that is a fascinating matchup. I bet you think that, I bet you think you know who I'm going to pick in that fight. I bet you think you know. And you don't, okay? Because I like Wonderboy in that fight. And I picked Burns over Kamaru Usman, and Burns almost knocked Kamaru Usman out in the first round. So you would think, like, if he almost beat Kamaru, then, obviously he's going to beat anyone else. Now, I like Burns against Masvidal. I'm sorry, Jorge, if you see this. I fucking love Jorge Masvidal as my dude, man. I love that guy. And if I end up picking fighters against him, it's not because I don't love him. It's just because I hate being wrong. I'm rooting for him. I hope I'm fucking wrong. I will never root against Jorge Masvidal, ever. No matter who he's fighting, I will always root for him. But, anyway, I would probably pick Gilbert Burns in that fight, however. But that's not for sure, though, dude. That one is actually not for certain, because, straight punches. Masvidal, who knows? Anyway, it's neither here nor there. Point is, Gilbert Burns is fast, explosive, powerful on his feet, right? Now, Wonderboy has never demonstrated a vulnerability to getting taken down and kind of grinded out. Like, he's fought a bunch of wrestlers. No one's ever been able to do that to him. So I don't think if Tyron Woodley had trouble getting him on the ground, I'm skeptical that Gilbert Burns is going to be able to get him down. So if they're on their feet, you're talking about a surgical, stand-up tactician versus an explosive, wild, very dangerous, powerful fighter. Who usually wins those, right? The precision instrument usually wins those. And Wonderboy's got he's got that weird, like, his rhythm is weird. His rhythm is weird. That's what I've been trying to, that's what I was talking about with the Sean O'Malley fight, where I was talking about how Sean O'Malley and the Aljamain Sterling versus Peter Yan fight, like the O'Malley versus Almeida and Aljamain versus Sterling. I'm sorry, Aljamain versus Yan. It's like the guys who are kind of traditional kickboxing, traditional Muay Thai, they have, it's a specific rhythm, right? It's like set, and then, it's like when you see two traditional guys going against each other, it's like a dance that you can just watch, right? Like, and lots of people have traditional Muay Thai or kickboxing stand-up. So that's a dance that you see a lot. That's why when someone has unorthodox striking, not unorthodox, just not that, it's very evident. That's like when, Sean O'Malley has, I don't even know what you call what he's got, because he has everything. He has every fucking kick. He has all kinds of creative punches. He has like a hybrid of a bunch of different striking, but that's why that stands out so much against traditional kickboxing and Muay Thai, because he breaks their rhythm, like that rhythm that they want to get into, where it's like step, 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 opening, leg kick, then like step, 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 fake leg kick, step in, left hook. It's like they all do the same stuff. And when you have a different type of stand-up martial art, it's very evident, and it's very hard for those guys to figure out, and like, when you had Machida, that was an early demonstration of that. You got Wonderboy also, he breaks their rhythm. His rhythm is super herky-jerky on purpose. He's like basically impossible to time. Like you're not going to find that little window that you're looking for as a boxer or kickboxer. It's just, he's kicking your knees, he's all over the place. There's no rhythm to it. Like, and he does that intentionally. And that's exactly what Aljamain Sterling did against Peter Yan. Pretty proud of myself on that one, by the way. If you guys didn't see my interview with Eric Nixick that I did right after the Aljamain fight, and I said, what I saw in that fight was Aljamain did a great job in the first couple rounds breaking Yan's rhythm, where Yan wants to set, he wants to be in that kind of Muay Thai rhythm, and Aljamain it looked to me like he was very intentionally breaking his rhythm. And Eric was like, and he's like, that's exactly what our goal was. Like, that's a great observation. That's exactly what our goal was. I was like, like I always knew I had what it takes as an analyst, but this moment now I know for sure, because blah blah blah. Anyway, but the thing is that Gilbert Burns actually is not, he doesn't have that though. Let me actually, so that's why Wonderboy is hard for traditional kickboxing Muay Thai guys. Gilbert Burns does not fight like a traditional Muay Thai kickboxing guy. He has all the same strikes. Like he throws round kicks. He throws, leg kicks, high kicks that are round. He throws, he operates from a traditional stance, but he's not like those guys. He's not like Yan. He's not like Aldo. That's not what kind, like, he's an explosion guy, right? And he's not like, he's more aggressive than those guys. Like, those guys are looking for their moments and then they're aggressive. He's like aggressive. Like, he's gonna fucking come at you, and he's gonna make you defend yourself. He's gonna make you hurt him, or he's gonna hurt you. And but nonetheless, I think that Wonderboy presents such a challenging puzzle for him to solve that, like, I mean, because he has to close distance. Like, he has to close distance to get within striking distance where he can, throw strikes at him. And Wonderboy is so good at making that, wall of strikes challenging to figure out, like, just is what it is. He did get knocked out by Anthony Pettis. But I'm going to call that a fluke. I'm going to call that a fluke. It was like a weird, random punch he didn't see coming. So of course, if Anthony Pettis can knock him out with a flying, whatever you call it, Superman punch, then obviously Gilbert Burns could knock him out if he catches him. But I don't know. I don't know. I really like both those guys. But if I had to bet, I would bet Wonderboy, which means you should probably bet on Gilbert Burns. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Those days are over, motherfucker. You know, in case you guys missed UFC 260, I called every fight right. I parlayed 3 fighters, got it right. Francis, Luque, O'Malley, hit it. Bet all those guys. Bet method of victory, hit them all, you know. So there's that. But I mean, I feel way less confident about my picks. Like I felt very confident about those picks. I mean, all except Francis, but only I was bulletproof on Francis until I saw every single analyst pick Stipe, and I was like, geez, man, like I really feel like Francis is gonna win, but maybe I'm out on a limb here. But like O'Malley and Luque, I mean, obviously they were favorites, but like I felt pretty confident. I mean, Jesus, after the first 30 seconds that Woodley fight, I wasn't feeling very fucking confident about my pick, but neither here nor there. Anyway, so that's what I've got. If you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. Tell your friends. Peace out.